Hello, everybody. I want to give an update because my last update was fairly dark and foreboding. I am doing quite a bit better. As you can see, I'm here talking, sitting up, but I still got a ways to go. But I don't want to waste any time. I know a good portion of my regular viewers are Halo modders, and I just want to go ahead and say I plan on getting back to Halo mod videos, but it will take some time for a couple reasons. One, obviously, like I just said, I'm really not back to full strength, but I am getting there. And those videos, believe it or not, take a ton of research to do. I do have a background in 3D graphics and programming, so it was easy to pick up relatively. And really, the Halo games are really the only games I have any desire to mod, especially Halo 3. And in fact, I would have made Halo CE tutorial sooner, but I don't even think that the mod tools were released yet, and that's why I didn't. I wasn't aware of that, so that's why I never made Halo CE videos. The other thing is that the mod tools were released with like no documentation, so it was researching for those videos. It was a combination of figuring out, these 15-plus-year-old CE tutorials and applying that to the Halo 3 engine, which is, of course, a whole new generation apart from the CE videos or the CE mod tools. And on top of that, it was also the Gearbox port. So it's like there's also more discrepancies because it's not the original Bungie, Xbox, port of the game, the original port. It's a Gearbox, a completely separate company, and that does create a few different issues because the Halo 3 PC port is pretty much just like the Xbox 360 port, as far as I can tell. And also, like, the Halo 3 was like the first Halo game, or the first game at all that I've ever really made a mod for, except Ravenfield. I have made some mods for Ravenfield, but that's a Unity game, so much easier to mod than to take apart a game that's 14 years old, that's not even made for PC. It just happened to be put on PC in the last couple years. And the other thing is that since I've been gone, there has been several developments in the Halo modding scene. So I have quite a bit of catching up to do. It's going to take a lot of research and asking around. I mean, that's how I made the original videos, was just keeping close tabs on Discord communities and going back to like the Halo CE maps website and just trying to figure stuff out. And a lot of stuff I had to figure out myself, just trial and error. That was another big thing, is just trial and error when I couldn't find definitive answers for something. That's pretty much it on the front of Halo modding. Again, I do plan on getting back to it, but it's just going to take a bit of time to get back into it. And even before I started doing Halo mod tutorials, I had pretty grand plans for much different videos, but those have just been totally put on the back burner. The most important one I was excited about was talking about skull ideas for the Halo games and kind of speculation about Halo Infinite, but since Halo Infinite has been out for months, it's a little late for that speculation, but whatever. So let's just talk about how I've been doing and my health. I have been through hell. I had lost almost all control over my health, and I still don't know what happened. I still don't know what caused things. The only thing is that I'm doing well enough to make this video, which is good. In my last video, I mentioned gastroparesis. I hinted that I had a few doctors that were unconvinced, and the more I have lived through this, the less that seems to be the one big problem. I also don't think it's gastroparesis. It could have been at one point, but I don't think that's what it is now or what it has been for the last few weeks. My study did show I had abnormally delayed stomach emptying, but that isn't probably what was causing the issues. I've been to several doctors now. Like I said in my last video, I've been admitted to the hospital twice. And been to the ER 3 times. At one point, the doctors thought I had hepatitis. No, I didn't. I had antibodies, but that's because I was vaccinated, it turns out. But I was vaccinated when I was very young, so I wouldn't have remembered that. But I've been to gastroenterologists, again, ER 3 times, urgent care, hospital admittance 2 times, been to psychiatrists, been to cardiologists. And based on all of my visits and what I have heard, and based on my medical history, what I think happened is that I suddenly had a panic attack come out of nowhere. My psychiatrists believe I have panic disorder, and I think they're right. Panic disorder is a mental illness, obviously, that basically you can worry yourself to death. And I'm not, that's not a joke. I mean, panic disorder, it's a cycle, and if you can't break out of that cycle, then it can kill you, because, I mean, I had lost 50 pounds, and before I had lost those 50 pounds, I didn't really have any weight to lose. And if this was all caused by panic disorder, then yeah, that made me lose 50 pounds, and that's really scary. And if I would have lost any more weight, I don't know what would have happened. I mean, I'm trying to gain back my weight. One of the more disturbing parts is that I can tell I've had tremendous muscle loss, and I have quite a bit of loose skin now. The other thing that compounds on that panic disorder, and why specifically I have it, is because when I was sometime in elementary school, which is like ages, I don't know, like age 7 to 11 or 12 or whatever, I can't even remember. I had developed emetophobia, which is an extreme fear of vomit and vomiting. Uh, and that definitely feeds into the panic disorder because here I have some sort of chronic gastritis that makes me feel like I felt nauseated all the time. The sensation of feeling like you're going to throw up, and I already have an extreme fear, irrational fear surrounding that, and I'm constantly afraid that I'm going to throw up, and and then that makes me feel worse physically. It is panic disorder, as you can simply put it this way. It's when fear overwhelms you, again, to the point where it can kill you, essentially. And you've probably heard of the gut-brain connection, where your stomach or your intestines or whatever is kind of your second brain. And one thing that this whole illness has taught me is that is 100% true. It's just this vicious cycle of fear of pain and vomiting and nausea, which caused more pain and nausea. I had gone months without proper nutrition and hydration. And before all of this, I was a very physically fit individual. I ate well and I exercised hard. I mean, I would ride my bike for over an hour each day. So I was doing physically very well, and then suddenly this happened, and now I'm in pretty rough shape. Getting better, but rough shape still. One other thing that I could be suffering from, but I don't know if I am or not, is postural orthostatic hypotension syndrome. And this could be caused by several things. It could have been the reason for my initial symptoms and just had a quick random onset. Or I could have developed it from the stress of being sick all the time, or I could have developed it because I was in bed or sitting down all the time. I could have also developed this from malnutrition. I don't know. But it's postural orthostatic hypotension syndrome. I'm just going to call it POTS because that's what a lot of people call it. POTS is very rare in males. Just like gastroparesis, it may go away or it may not. My hope is that as I continue to try to get my life on track, that this illness goes away entirely. You can do your own research on POTS. There's a lot to read about it. Basically, there is something wrong. If I do have POTS, there's something wrong with my cardiovascular system where my veins don't tighten like they're supposed to, so blood isn't pumped as efficiently through my body. This means that blood can pool up in different areas of my body, like around my stomach, which can cause stomach pain and nausea. When my posture changes, like if I go from a sitting position to a standing position, my cardiovascular system can't compensate correctly. My blood pressure remains low. My blood pressure remains low, so I can get very dizzy when I stand up. And because of this, my heart tries to compensate by beating very fast. Just for context, it is normal for your heart rate, anybody's heart rate, it's normal for it to increase around 10 beats per minute when going from sitting to standing. Someone with POTS their heart rate will increase by at least 30 beats per minute. And this can be very exhausting. Something as simple as standing up after getting out of bed in the morning can feel like a full cardio workout. And I don't really know if I have this. My hope is that as I'm able to do more, my heart rate will get stronger and not tend to beat as fast. And I kind of think that's the case. The cardiologist I went to prescribed a beta blocker, which is supposed to slow down my heart rate. And I don't know if it's working or I mean, the last couple of days I've been actually up and about doing stuff physically. This is not the normal room I'm in. And you might hear stuff in the background. That's because this is not my usual recording location. Because I am moving stuff around, and because of that, I'm up a lot more. And the other thing is that more often than not, my heart rate doesn't go over 30 beats. It still goes up by a lot, but not by that 30 beats per minute threshold. So, I don't know. The good news is that I'm doing a lot better, actually able to stay out of bed, able to eat what I need to maintain my weight. My goal is to gain my weight back. And of course, I have to eat a high protein diet, so I'm not just gaining back fat or losing any more muscle. I am cautiously optimistic. I have had periods of feeling better before, but basically slipped back into square one, which really sucked. It was just like a remission period. But I have been getting progressively better the last few weeks, which is the longest I have felt better. So I'm kind of hoping that this is starting to, move behind me now. As I get back into the swing of things, I want to make very simple videos, just talking about topics and ideas surrounding video games and movies. And that's not gaming news like Yongya or Review Tech USA. When I say that, I mean like not as nearly in detail as Pan and Koic, but more like maybe how these games were made or the ideas surrounding them. Basically, game development and game design ideas, essentially, or something about story. I've thought about talking about like Star Wars, and like Star Wars movies, because nobody else talks about them, obviously. But I have thoughts about them. And nothing like too critical or anything. I'm not going to like bash J.J. Abrams. That's not what I want to talk about. It's more just like more conceptual things and what I find interesting. And of course, I also want to talk about the Halo games as well, and ideas surrounding them. I guess the last thing I want to touch on is in my last video that was just like the wall of text. I mentioned that all of the money I would be making on this channel, at least for the time being, would go to research towards like figuring out proper treatment and a cure for gastroparesis. And I still definitely want to do that. If there is one thing that I really learned from being sick for 5 months and not being able to do anything, is that people have to live the way I lived. But it's their whole life. They don't they there's they don't have much of a hope of getting better. I mean, I've gone through it for 5 months, but some people have it for years. And a lot of people have it until the day they die, and sometimes a lot of the times it kills them. I mean, I know somebody that has had gastroparesis for 11 years, and it's not a it wasn't a severe case, but still, like, imagine waking up one day and your whole life has just changed because suddenly you can't eat properly. It's really scary, and I kind of can't imagine really living with something like that. A chronic illness like gastroparesis or Crohn's disease or psoriasis or something that you really don't have uh, like much of treatment for. I mean, yeah, you have like the biological medicine for Crohn's disease and stuff, but again, I just can't imagine. And I hope that my illness doesn't come back. I'm not totally certain if it will or not, but that's just one thing that has really changed is that they say that, and it's not like I'm making a ton of money off of YouTube because I'm not. I mean, I'm not making a living wage or anything at all. It's just nice money to have, and I've been spending it all on my medical bills. uh, it sounds like I make a lot of money on YouTube, and I certainly do not. I mean, it's basically pocket change. But I had plans to expand and grow this channel before I got sick, and I still have that desire. But the one thing I learned is that money to me doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it's nice to have, but knowing firsthand what a lot of people have to live with and go through is just something that I can't really live with. It's just hard. It's hard to know that some people are living with gastroparesis where they throw up every meal that they eat. And that's just awful. And I don't know if there's any big foundations that are going towards, researching gastroparesis and methods of curing or treating it, but I am in contact with one of the world's gastric motility experts. So I do have like a direct line of communication with him. So maybe we can figure something out. But yeah, I mean, I have hobbies like video game collecting, which can certainly be an expensive hobby, and I'm going to be making videos about that. But my entire life view surrounding money and that kind of stuff has just totally changed. And I don't really know how to describe it. I've been kind of stumbling on my words. Um, and I'm not trying to sound like a saint or anything. It's just having firsthand experience living through something and knowing that people live through it every day for the rest of their lives. It's just something that I can't fathom, and I feel like I have no choice but to help. Like if if my experience didn't change me, then I would have gone through it for nothing. And it would have just been a senseless, oh, you can't work and you're out of work and you're losing 50 pounds and you feel like crap every day. Like, I feel like that has to be given some sort of purpose. Because otherwise I would have experienced it for no reason. So I'm hoping that in some way that I can help the broader or the gastroparesis community and the broader chronic illness community, because it's just, you really don't know how terrible these things are unless you live with it. I mean, it's awful. I rambled on for way too long, so I'm just going to close it out here. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon, probably in a different room, unless I get sick again, which I hope not, and I don't think I will, but who knows. Again, thanks for watching. See ya.